Thanks, everybody, for attending our closing ceremony for the 2021 Building Solutions High Performance Campus Retreat. This has been a fantastic 2 days, 4 wonderful sessions, great attendance, and really appreciate everybody being here. I want to reintroduce Bill Kessler, the CEO of Building Solutions, and he has a few closing remarks. Kevin Folsom has a few items to say. Joe Rayburn may have a few words to say, and then we'll let Bill finish it and close it out, and we'll see you sometime soon. So, Bill, I give it to you.
I'm only prepared to do it one time. Why don't you? I'll blow all my powder up on one session. Watch it. Let's we'll streamline this a little bit. Kevin?
Yeah. You want me to put my?
Why don't you do your summary, and I'll cap it at the end.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
Dillard, you might have hit record about 3 minutes too early. You got an edit button on that thing?
Take two.
That's the fun of virtual, right?
Right. Who knows how it went? It went the way we say it went.
That's exactly right. Successfully.
Here, I have a couple of slides here to go over. So let's see here. Is it coming up correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we started off with the opening ceremony. I'd mentioned a little bit about the HPC and what the big picture looks like. And these are some of the areas that we focused on: reinvestment, advising, debt monitoring, operations efficiency, and then the HPC Improvement Continuum Program, and then project management. And so as the education institution was here long before any of us were in most cases, and will be here long after us in many cases, HPC is designed to be a small piece of following the institution and supporting it in the areas of the things that we mentioned before, and the goal is to have the capacity to be able to expand its services as needed for the school, especially something like project management. So there's a project manager of a construction project. The best scenario is to have one before the architect is hired, all the way through the 1-year warranty, so that you have one person to call to help take care of all these things and administer that. If you want to go on top, something better than that would be a project manager that's with you years before and intimately understands your operations on the inside, and years after to call upon when problems come up. And that's what HPC is for those that choose to use the project management services. So as we travel along through the years, there's another project or some other major thing you have that we can bring those projects along in that way. So the HPC is a relationship piece of remaining intimate with the institution and then providing small services and helping in that way during that time while you're waiting for larger needs. The biggest thing, though, that HPC provides for you is your deferred maintenance management. This is a deferred maintenance. You've heard me refer to it as a debt, and it literally is a debt that is growing. Because there's a value to your facilities that has to be renewed, and facilities have to be renewed. Once you build it, it begins to decay. And as the deferred maintenance grows, someone has to keep tabs of that. And it's very much like a CFO has an accounting auditor that comes in every year to make sure they're properly accounting funds and for tax reasons and all those various things to make sure that they have good stewardship and that kind of and so forth. We need that in facilities auditing as well. And this is what HPC does for the clients, and it helps you to be able to see what your deferred maintenance debt is, how it's growing, is it manageable, what the cause and effects will be to the operations piece. As it gets larger, the operations piece becomes less efficient and unable to keep up with the issues and things of that nature. So there's one major systemic problem in education institutions that I've seen as long as I've been involved in on the inside for 32 years. And it was something that I was passionate about making people aware of the issue and making it well known. And there's I'm going to call it a major oversight. I don't know exactly what's behind it. I have some assumptions, but why this doesn't happen? We have, most of the time we talk about this in our education institutions. We have the students, parents, and those activities. And the activities would be athletics, other events, performances, things of that nature. And that is comprised of the actual education piece that happens within that. To make that education piece happen, you need human resources of staff and faculty, and they have a curriculum. So this is one major supporting pillar of an education institution. All education institutions have this major pillar. And there's a cost to maintaining that pillar, annual cost. You have tuition that's being charged to be able to fund that, pay people's salaries, their benefits, and buy the curriculum, all of those kinds of things. But there's another major component to that is in order for that to work, you have to have a vision and a mission. You have to have leadership that are casting those visions, and they're processing the needs and studying the needs. You have admissions who are helping parents have access to what the school has to provide. You have development who are seeking people that want to contribute to education institutions. So the tuition that's being charged is probably most of the funds that the school collects. But another major piece are contributions. And this is where things can become complicated because if you charge tuition might be 2/3 of all the expenditures, and you need to raise money for the other, then you're very dependent on your donors. And so a lot of times you'll hear us refer to GIE, gross institutional expenditures. And there's a basis that you can use to help determine how much facilities funds you need in a school. So these are the two primary pillars of supporting that, but there's a third pillar that people don't like to talk about too much, and they don't want to guarantee and contribute to that on a guaranteed basis. And it's often used as a bank for funds to support the other initiatives and things that need to take place. And that's facilities. Facilities are a very large component of the education institution. The operations affects every single person, every single area of this area here. Finance, facilities require finance to be able to reinvest into them. Many of the functions will not happen in the education institution without facilities. A lot of times we'll put a bigger emphasis on IT within the facilities. Well, IT cannot function without facilities. You have to have electricity, air conditioning, dry areas, security, and all of these various components that facilities provide. Nothing in the education institution can happen without the support of facilities. And so the reason I'm saying that is that there are tried and true perfected metrics that can be used for budgeting properly for facilities. And what I've found in my research, this is just sort of shooting from the hip here. One of these days I'll do a formal research project on this, and APA does make that kind of thing possible to happen. But what I've seen is that you can fund your facilities and have all the money that you need to maintain the facilities, follow the code compliance, and renew them. And then whenever you have grandfathered code situations that are usually relating to something that's safety related, you can plan and have the funds available to be able to renew those and update them as you move along. And as all of us that have been facility managers, it's a significant struggle. And the facility managers shoulder a tremendous amount of burden for the education institutions to try to keep a good face of the education system for those to see and try to keep them functional. The amount that I'm seeing that could function, and you can see that the facilities is a very significant part of that. And I would give it, you've got a 33% there supporting the education institution. And I would say the facilities does represent about that equal part of that. You're able to, so here's the key. You can fund your facilities, everything that you need to do to keep those things operational and moving forward in a safe way for about 10% of the gross institutional expenditures of an institution. I've been far enough working for schools, I've gotten deep enough and far enough into their finances to be able to see where money goes, how it goes, and personally, the money's there. It's just a matter of they have to have the proper reporting. They need the respect of the facilities person to understand what's happening and how these finances, what these needs are. I felt like I've developed all of those skill sets and did everything I possibly could within my career to make that happen. And it was still a challenge. I still did not have institutions that would embrace it. So it's quite a systemic problem nationwide, mostly in the United States. I've seen other well-developed countries that have embraced more of these ways of dealing with facilities. But I just wanted to end this with just helping you as facility managers and CFOs to understand how important you are in the life of an institution. And you have to work together, locked arms, seeing each other eye to eye, and there's really no other way to do it. That's all I had, Bill.
Was Joe going to wrap up with anything? They are traveling, so he may not be on right now.
I'm here.
Okay.
You know,
I think time for me, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think what I wanted to say was I've spent the week visiting some of our HPC schools, and I'm looking forward to finally having a year where we can travel again and I can come see the rest of you. But, you know, we are just constantly reminded how busy you guys are and how many things you're taking on from a facility standpoint, from the business office, battling COVID. And, you know, I spending that time on site this week just reminded me how lucky we are to have this program, to have this open line of communication and this trust that really I've seen benefit so many schools. I have some tough conversations where you probably wouldn't have with a consultative body that was outside of your family. And I just want to say from us, we feel really blessed that you guys have taken us in, let us have a seat at your table. You value our direction. And I would remind you that we've spent a year now creating successful, thoughtful, financially accessible means to help you mitigate this respiratory crisis with COVID. We're here to help. Please don't hesitate to pick up the phone. And man, I want to tip my hat to all of you. I've been, for sure, the people that are on this call right now, with the exception of Bob, which is frustrating because Philly is literally one of my favorite places in the world. So I'm so thankful that the world is opening up so I can get back up to Pennsylvania. But everybody works so hard and pulled together. We're just thrilled to be a part of it. And I'm happy to be a part of it too. So I don't want to tie up too much of everybody's day. And I know Kevin had some really meaty conversation there. But please pick up the phone if we can help. You know, we're going to be reaching out to you. We want to make sure that we take care of the HPC schools with that same concierge level of a treatment that you're deserving of and that you're used to. So Dennis actually just popped in here. You got anything you want to say closing up on HPC?
I'm driving, so I shouldn't be doing this, but I just want to say ditto. And hopefully we'll get to see all of you in person soon.
I don't want anybody to be nervous about the fact that I said he just popped back in here and he opened with, "Hey, I'm driving." We're not in a Tesla. So but thank you guys again. We're going to turn it back over to Bill while we navigate 35.
Drive carefully. I first wanted to thank everyone who attended. If you didn't show up, we couldn't have a workshop. So thank you very much for all the attendees, those who are on now and those who have participated during the workshop. And for those who are just seeing the tape, seeing the YouTube, glad you can join us this way too. Dillard, thank you very much for putting all this together once again. Kevin, the newest guy on the block, but kind of goes without saying. I think you've had a couple of days of him, so you know we have a real gem there in Kevin. And Kevin, I know you had a lot of preparation and role in making this workshop a success. I've been like a lot of people, been reflecting a lot this year about what the meaning is of the incredible change and challenges that we've had. We've been watching particularly how it impacts schools, of course, since you're part of our big part of our life, and many of you are like family. I think you know, if you're in the HPC program, you know about some of the special programs and the innovations that our group has assembled and begun carrying out. We have been all looking forward to getting back to normal, and that's sort of a catchphrase nowadays. I'm not the first one to say this, but I think it's especially true with independent schools is we're not going to go back to what we consider to be normal. You guys had a particularly tough job this year in the education field, but also in the facilities field. And what you now have is another condition that's laid on you as managers of facilities that are taking care of the most precious thing we have, our children, in doing one of the most important things that we can do for our children, and that is to offer them a great education. We have another thing that a lot like security that got laid on us when Sandy Hook happened, and events both before and after. We've had something like 60 to 70 school shootings through 2020. I don't know how many in 2021 so far, but it's a real problem that is becoming more prevalent. But when it happened the first time, there was a huge wake-up call for schools. Frankly, there was a wake-up and then went back to sleep and wake up. Nobody's back to sleep now. Security is a major part of running a campus, and it's here to stay. I have been thinking, our group has been thinking, as it's studied what's going on in the world of COVID and coronavirus. In fact, I think we envisioned from the very beginning that this is just the first of many. At least the awareness, if not the incidence, of respiratory-borne health risks is a bigger deal this year than it's ever been. but this is not the last time it's going to be a big deal thing. So we've been talking about our responses, not just as COVID-19 or coronavirus, but we have, I think, framed our innovations and our reflecting our mindset that this is about respiratory health. It's not about one incident or one strain of virus. So it's just one more thing on you guys, on your backs, and just makes the job that much tougher. The other thing that I reflect on, so first of two things. The second thing I reflect on is that we're experiencing an increasing rate of change this year as a result of COVID-19. We've had increasing velocity and the rate of change has been increasing for some time, but this new factor has really kept us on our toes even more. My experience in my business life and personal life is that when there's rapid change, opportunities present themselves more frequently, and the opportunities can be bigger. One of the opportunities you have with rapid change in facilities is an opportunity to restart. Kevin has given you a lot of tools. I hope the workshop in general has given you a lot of tools and a lot of new ways of looking at things. I would wager that because of the kind of flux that things are in and the rate of change, that if you're among those facility directors who's been trying to make things change, who's tried to be an instigator of change but been frustrated, my hunch is that you're going to find people even much more receptive to changes that you offer, particularly if they're in response to problems we've been experiencing. So I encourage you to look at this as a positive thing. It's wow, you're in institutions where you got teachers resigning, leaving the profession. There's tremendous amount of disruption in the education field right now. I encourage you to take a look at what's happening, and instead of being discouraged by it, look at it as an opportunity to up your game and up your school's game by employing strategies that you're learning about here and elsewhere, and also use it as an opportunity to assert your leadership. We talk all the time about how facilities doesn't have the stature in many institutions that it should. Well, in a world that's in flux, a lot of change going on, you come forward with good ideas, you demonstrate that you're achieving at a higher level and you've got science behind what you're doing, you will be able to assert leadership more successfully maybe than you've ever been able to before. We believe that a really effective way of doing that is for you to bond with your CFO or COO, whatever your situation is, that the person that you're reporting to usually has the financial hat on in the school, that the glue between you and that person is one of the most important dynamics. So you probably see in the work that we do efforts to help you bond in that relationship and be mutually helpful. I would encourage. At the beginning of this session, I was encouraging and challenging you to engage with peers, people you may have met through this workshop, or that you know, even if you haven't met them, you know them as HPC fellow HPC participants. But I want to add to this another challenge, that you find new ways to bond and to engage your CFO or COO, whoever your direct report is, And one way that we hope that you can, if you want to find ways to do new ways to do that, I think the HPC program is a way that you can do that. Since we are intending to bring the business office and facilities closer together, if you're a help in creating that bond or in sharing what you're learning here and engaging them in what happens through the HPC program, I would suggest that this can help you accomplish that also. So that's all I have to say, other than thank you again. And I also hope that I can get out and see many of you during the year next year. Hope that you'll stay in touch and keep us apprised of what's going on in your worlds.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Really appreciate everybody here being here. And that concludes the 2021 Building Solutions HPC Retreat.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.